Alright, good evening, YouTube channel. So, there's been a lot of talk, or I always see it on the boards, about which thermostat should I buy for my rack. And then they'll get a ton of answers where people go, well, I love this one, I love that one. But generally, folks will have only experience with one, so they really can't say whether or not that's the right choice for someone else, or they've never even tried anything else. So, who knows? So, what I'm going to do is I have two of the more popular ones on the market right now. The new version of the Herpstat one by Spyder Robotics, and the Vivarium Electronics VE-200 that you can get from reptilebasics.com. So I'm going to do a real quick breakdown of each one and kind of compare and contrast and talk about what I like and maybe don't like about each one. Then people can make the decision for themselves as to which one they want to go with, or if they just want to go with something else. There are others on the market. So we're going to begin with the Spyder Robotics. So I'm not going to go through every single feature available on each one of these. That's what the spreadsheets are for online if you go to their respective websites, which I will put up on the screen. But I'm just going to talk about what I use them for and what, like I said, what I like and don't like about them. So starting off with the Spyder Robotics, just looking at it initially, you see it's a pretty small unit. It's nice and out of the way. It's a stand type unit where it will sit just on top of your rack like so. And you can see the size. My hands aren't huge, and it's it's a decent size. It's got little rubber feet. It's hard to see there. There you go. Little rubber feet that will sit it onto your rack and still let the vents on the bottom of it breathe. And you can kind of see the connections in the back. There's a power connection for the Herpstat itself, the connection for the FlexWatt to plug into, and the Herpstat one only has one connection on the back for that, and then a quick disconnect for the probe. All right, and in both of these units, the probes are user replaceable if you wind up just with a bad probe and want to swap it out. All right. So, we're down a few of the things that I use the Herpstat for, and I'll kind of show on the screen how easy it is to use as well. This little guy packs a lot of punch. So, as you can see here, and I'll zoom in on this so you can read it a little bit better. Things that I immediately like about the Herpstat. The blue color is pretty sweet, but color really doesn't matter that much to me. So what we have is we have where it's set, and then where it's at right now. So it's holding at 94.5, using 23% of its power. I really like this because this is telling me how hard this thermostat is having to work to provide the power necessary to keep the FlexWatt where I want to keep it. So the thing with this is you have choices. So if we go into the menus here, all right, so let's go into output configuration. So we'll hit enter. Okay, so first thing is output mode. Okay, in this case I have it on dimming. You can change it to pulse, or there's a cooling mode, there's a lights on and off mode. These Herpstats can be used for a lot of different things. But main thing here is that you have pulse proportional and dimming proportional. I prefer dimming. I think it keeps the narrowest band, so I keep it on dimming. So what else we have? We also have, so setting your daytime temperature. This is where you would set. In my case, I set it to 94.1, and that gives me a hot spot of right about 90 degrees inside the tubs. Okay, night cycle operations. So if you enter here, you can turn the night cycle on and off. In this case, I want it off. And you set your nighttime temperature, your night cycle start time, end time, and any ramping. Okay. Now that's the one thing that this has over the VE-200. The VE-200 requires a separate night mode module to be attached to it, and this is all built into the Herpstat. And you'll start to see that. And for ball pythons, in my case, really it's not necessary. It's an extra feature, but if it's something that you need, you'll start to see in pricing between the two where it starts to make a difference. Okay. Okay, this also has alarms. Okay, and I'll show you we've got high-low alarms. I have them off right now because this is in a room that if I were downstairs, I probably wouldn't hear them anyway. But you can enable them so that if it goes outside the temperature range, the alarms will go off. And you set your high temp and low temp alarms. and you can tell it when you want it to shut off, and so forth and so on. Okay. Okay, sensor adjustment. Really haven't looked into what this does. Not sure. Temperature swings. Don't use that either. As you can see, and you can go read up on the Herpstat. There's just a absolute ton of stuff it does. So let's go here to. You also can set a security passcode so no one else can mess with your temperatures. System setups, and then exit. And there you go. So this, I mean, for the basic ball python setup, this does everything and then some for what you need. And it works fantastic. So just a few other key features that I'll read off the little sheet here. So we've already covered most everything. So both units have a total of a 700 watt output. So that's basically how much, when you're deciding how much flex watt you can run off of one thermostat. I don't recommend running any more than one rack on any given thermostat, but if you are running more than one identical rack, you still need to add up your feet of flex watt and determine how many watts that comes up to, and you don't want to exceed the 700 watt total output for the Herpstat or for the VE-200. Okay. So you can use this for anything. It can be used for humidity, for heat, for cooling, for whatever you want to use it for. It's good. Alright, so next I'm going to switch over and we'll take a look at the VE-200 and we'll kind of compare and contrast what's going on with the two. Alright, so up next is the Vivarium Electronics VE-200. As you can see, it's a slightly larger unit, but what's nice about these is they can actually stack on top of each other. So if you had several racks and you just wanted to put all of your thermostats in one location, you can just stack them right on top of each other and have a nice, neat setup all in one spot, and you can kind of spot check everything. Okay, so just like with the Herpstat, it has a very, very simple setup. Just a few buttons, nothing fancy, and it gets the job done. Alright, so in this case you see it's a green backlit display. The night drop capability in this one, like I said, you have to have the other module for that. And let's look at the setup. So in this one, so basically it starts off with set daytime temperatures. And that's where you said I have this one set to 94 degrees to get my 90-degree hotspot. And then you can change that up and down, and you have it. I'm not going to change it. Okay. Okay, there's a night drop setup, but you require the module for that. This one you can actually set the time of day. There's a clock, built-in clock. Okay, selecting your mode. So this is where here you can select either proportional or you can select on-off. So the one thing that the VE-200 does not have that the Herpstat 1 has is the dimming feature. Now there is a VE-200 coming from Vivarium Electronics that has the dimming feature, but it's not available yet. So when I bought this one, it wasn't available. Okay. All right, you can press the history button here and kind of give you a low and high history. Let's go back into our menu. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So we went through the menus that it has. All right, so as you can see, the VE-200 is a much simpler setup unit. Now, they both do a fantastic job of maintaining the temperature that they're supposed to maintain, which is the number one thing that your thermostat is supposed to do. But the Herpstat 1 does have a lot more bells and whistles. There is a bit of a price difference. The Herpstat 1 is about $25 more expensive. But with that said, it does come with a lot of other features. It has a smaller footprint, and that is what it is. They're both outstanding units. Just a matter of deciding what your needs are and what you want to do with that. They both come in larger available versions that you can plug in more than one input into and work from. So that's really it in the basic comparison. If anybody has any specific questions, put them down at the bottom. I'll try to answer them. And that's really it. Have a good night.